There are so many different items indoors, but which one is the strongest? Is it the crucifix that lets you insta-kill pretty much every single entity? Or maybe it's the barrel of Starlight because it can double your health. Well, today that's exactly what we're going to find out. But this is all just my opinion, so don't get mad if I rate something a little higher or lower than you would. We are here in Tier Maker. Oh, I forgot that was the name of this website. Okay, and the tiers are absolutely impeccable, very helpful, meh, it's mid, not helpful, trash, an absolutely abysmal piece of garbage. And yes, we are putting some of these items here. There are some absolutely abysmal piece of garbages here. In a nice way, of course. Number 1. The normal flashlight. And it's like one of the first items that were ever indoors, one of the first 4, which were the flashlight, lockpick, vitamins, and lighter. And it's good. I think it's really good. It's not very helpful or absolutely impeccable, but I'm going to put it in helpful. It's a great item. It's not mid. It's not anything below that. I'm gonna put it in helpful. We got the stinky cheese. We get this from Louis. I love Louis. He's a really cool entity. There's nothing really bad about this. It gives you a lot of health. It's not overpowered. It's basically just a band-aid. We're going to also put it, no, it's slightly worse than the flashlight, so we're going to put it in mid. It's a good item, but there's nothing crazy about it. It's mid.
Yep.
Next item the next item we have is the one and only crucifix. This item comes with so many different badges, which is a good thing because it gives more of a reason to play the game. And yeah, it brings a lot of content in the game, but also some of the badges to get are annoying. But it's a really helpful thing. It can save you from pretty much every single enemy in the game. And it's really good. It's rare, but also gives you a reason to collect a lot of gold. So I'm putting it in very helpful. It's not absolutely impeccable. We're saving that for only the most impeccable items, but it's a very, very helpful item. Next up, we have the glow stick, and I like it a lot. It's one of the new items that were added in the Doors Floor 2 update, and since it's so common, that's what makes it so good. They're found all over the mines, and they can be used in every single room. You throw them down, and they stay there forever, unless the gloom bat gets them, of course. But they're a great source of light source, especially in the dark mines, and they're very, very, very useful over in the Grumble's Nest. So I'm putting them at helpful with the flashlight. The next item is the guiding light candy, and it is only in the, what's it called? Oh yes, the trick or treat modifier. And if the trick or treat modifiers still give you knobs, I would put it in very helpful, but it doesn't anymore, and it just takes away knobs. And compared to one of the other items that are going to be later on in the video, this thing is definitely not as good as that item. So I'm gonna put it in it's mid because the modifier it comes in does not give you any knobs really. Next up we have this little guy, the Green Soda. Let's name out the good things about it. Alright, now let's name out the bad things. It's very rare to get. It requires a very rare entity to get. Well, it's not that rare, but it's not that common either. It makes you green. And it's spelled with a W. Absolutely abysmal piece of garbage. The green soda is so annoying. And I just got the badge today, and for a badge hunter like me, that is terrible. The next item that we have is the battery pack, and there's nothing wrong with it. I think it's a good item. It's very helpful, and I love the idea of it, but it can only hold 4 batteries. Which is still fine, but I don't find myself needing it that much. So I'm going to put it helpful because there's a lot of things that we need batteries for. The next item we have here is the alarm clock. Now, the idea for the item was pretty cool, how it can distract figure, but it's useful in like 4 rooms in the entire game, which is not very good compared to how many rooms there are in the entire game in general. This item is kind of useless because it only distracts figure for a little while, and yeah, this not helpful. Alarm clock item, not helpful. I wish it could be better. I wish it had more uses, and I'm sure eventually there will be more uses, but right now it seems kind of pointless. Next up, we have this. This is the Band-Aid. Band-Aid? Yeah. Band-Aid pack. And the reason I stumbled is because I always mix up Band-Aids and batteries. I know they're different, okay? The battery pack is such a good item, though, because it lets you hold up to 10 different Band-Aids, which is really good because of how many of the new entities are damage-based instead of being an insta-kill. They're not too hard to get, and if you want to buy them in the pre-run shop, it's not too hard, which is why this item is very, very helpful. The next item is this. It's the Barrel of Starlight, or the Jug of Starlight. I don't really know what Doris wants to call it anymore, because in the shop they call it the what? Cut that part out. Next up, we have the Barrel of Starlight, and this would be a great item because it is super overpowered, but it takes a long time, and after you get it, I encountered this one bug where I couldn't even put it in my rift to store it. This item gives you a huge speed boost, a huge health boost, it makes you glow, and it lasts a long time, and on top of that, you get 4 uses, but this item is very, very rare, and it takes hours to complete, which just completely just makes it so that all those buffs don't really matter. If an item takes that long to get, then overall it's not going to be as great of an item, meaning it's helpful if you get it, but it's super rare. So I'm going to put it in the helpful tier, not very helpful or absolutely impeccable because this item is annoying. Next up, we have a very important item, and it is the Bottle of Starlight. It's kind of like the Barrel of Starlight, but it's more common and it's easier to get, and it does pretty much the same thing, just way less overpowered. And the reason that this is good or helpful is because you need it for the Golden Rift. So it is still a helpful item, but it's really not too crazy. It's not anything too crazy. You can only get one of them per run, unless a friend gives it to you. So we're just going to put it in mid because it does similar stuff to the barrel, but it is way worse. The bread. It's like the cheese, but it's less of a cool texture. It does the exact same thing. It's literally a reskin, so we're going to put it in. It's mid. This literally just serves as an insta-kill, and I mean, once you know what it's there for, then you're not going to fall for it, but the first time it was terrible to just instantly die when eating this. But once again, it's only in one specific modifier, so I can't put it in abysmal. We're going to put it in trash. Next up, we have the candle. This item used to be absolutely overpowered, and you get it just about probably once a run, and you could use it to sense enemies. It would be a constant light source that didn't have to be lit, and it was just overall a great item. But in the Mines update, they nerfed it so much that it is all the way down to trash. And the reason this item is so bad is because there's very little use for it. To light it, you need to have a lighter, or you have to walk up to a flaming barrels or a fireplace just to use it. And it doesn't even stay on after a run, and it does not tell you when enemies are coming. And the only reason I'm not putting it in abysmal piece of garbage is because you need it for another item coming up soon. Next, we have an item that is once again only in a modifier for April Fools. It is the Holy Hand Grenade, and it's annoying because you need this item to stay away from Jeff the Killer, and it is very rare. Yeah, it's all jokes and fun, but no, this item is annoying. It is not helpful, and it's only found in one modifier. It really doesn't do much except for explode a few enemies, and you're only really going to need this in the April Fools 2023 modifier, which I barely even played, so if it was actually super good and I don't know, let me know in the comments, but I didn't even play it. I barely even played it, so yeah. Next, we have this little thing. I was kind of excited to see what it would do from the leaks and everything. It's a laser pointer. It does nothing more, really. It's just a tiny little light that goes pretty far, but even if it's far, you can't really read the door number with it, which is the only reason that I would use it. And it's really just a terrible light source that is unreasonably rare. Like, you literally get the bulk light more than this thing. I've seen the bulk light way more than this thing. It's used to stun the giggles, but you could do that with, you can do that with the glow sticks, the bulk light, and the normal, the flashlight. Like, we don't need a special item just for that. This item is trash. But next up, we have the lighter. It's just a light source that illuminates around you instead of one specific area. It's nothing bad. I'm gonna put it in mid just because it's just a normal light source. You can turn it on to light the candle, which is, I guess, good. And if you put it on in the gas room, you explode, which is funny. Lockpicks, there's nothing much to say about it. Unlock locked doors, good for speedrunners. You can use them on generators, locked lockers, locked toolboxes, and even just random wooden locked boxes that are normally found in a hotel. Next up, we have the Fortnite ripoff chug jugs, or whatever the heck these things are called. Not chug jugs, potion pot, shields. I don't play Fortnite. I'm putting both of them in mid because, once again, I barely even played that event. Actually, no. Not helpful. Next thing, we have an item that should have already been in the game with the normal candle, but for some reason it's not. It's pretty fun to unlock it by putting it in the rift and everything, but it's kind of unnecessarily difficult, and by the way, you have to get to door 100 past the place where you already would have needed to use it, so unless you're going to go back and use it on another run, even though you already know how to do the greenhouse, it kind of even, it defeats the purpose. Alright, the purpose of these things are to warn you when rush is coming in the greenhouse, but the fact that you wouldn't have to get through the greenhouse to put this thing in the rift in the first place absolutely defeats the purpose of it, and why even need it? It's unnecessarily difficult to get for the reason that it serves. Yes, it serves as a nice light source, but by the time you need it, well, you already know how to do all the things. So I'm gonna put it in its mid. Next up, we have the Moonlight Float, which I think is a really great item, and it does what it's trying to do way better than the Moonlight Candle. The Moonlight Float is what you get by putting the smoothie into the rift, and you get it, it's basically the guidance candy, but it is way, way better, because you're pretty much guaranteed to get it every single round because of those basements, you know what I mean? Those little basement thingies, because there's always one guaranteed basement after door 50, and there's always a guaranteed smoothie in every single one. So if you wanted to, by the end of every single match, you can have one every single time. You can use it in door 100, which makes it super, super easy because you can see Figure through walls, you can see Grumble through walls, and you can even see the books and fuses and anchors in door 150. That's why this is going in very helpful. Next up, we have the scanner. It's basically the barrel, but worse. This thing was just as hard to get, and it has a way worse purpose, only being used to see things through walls, which this can do much better, and it was really, really annoying to use because you can only see it on a little grainy screen. It's going in trash because it's not even in the game anymore. You can't even get it. You know what? You can't even get it in the game. The item was trash to begin with. It's going in the absolutely abysmal piece of garbage. The Shake Light. The Shake Light is a pretty interesting item. You can only get it in the rooms, and it is very loud, and it has to be refilled quite often, but a infinite flashlight is an infinite flashlight. I'm going to put it in mid. The light that it gives off isn't too bright, but it is a light nonetheless. It's loud, it's rechargeable, but you don't need any batteries, and it's technically infinite. Can never decide on this thing. I'm bringing it up to helpful. Next. We have the shears. The shears are a pretty great item. Next, we have the shears. The shears is a very awesome item. It's not too rare, and you can find them in a lot of the side rooms and main rooms now that the garden rooms have become more common in the newest update. They can be used to unlock parts of rooms in door 150, which makes it super way easier. It can be used to open up loot boxes, which have a lot of super great loot to unlock a lot of super great stuff in the game. They can also unlock other parts of other rooms that have a lot of great loot in them, meaning that automatically brings it up to very helpful. You can use it to skip parts of rooms. You can use it to get a bunch of awesome loot, and what's not to like about it? It has multiple uses, and it's really not that hard to get. And the skeleton key, on the other hand, can only be found in the Jeff shop for certain, and if you're gonna find it somewhere else, it's super rare. I have had multiple occasions where I found them inside of drawers or on top of tables, but they're pretty rare and they can only be used for two things. First thing is opening up the rooms, and the second one is the Herbiviridis, which they've nerfed a ton of times, so it's not nearly as good as it was before. But just because of the fact that it opens a whole subfloor, I'm gonna put it in helpful. The smoothie is, well, like I said, it's automatically found in every single one of the basements. It's used to turn into an awesome item, but the smoothie itself is just basically a band-aid, but a little bit better. It's mid. It's good, but it's not great. The bulk light is definitely the best light source in the entire game. It's super great, it's not too rare, and it is completely overpowered. It has a ton of battery life, and it lights up so much, we're going to automatically put it in very helpful. But the other new light added in the mines is the strap light, and the strap light is very different. It can only be pointed straight forward. You can't look up and down with it. You can't get the giggles with it. The battery life is good, but that's pretty much the only upside. You're never really going to need to use another item with it, and it's not even bright. It's kind of just a really bad flashlight. There's not really anything to like about it. You have the normal flashlight and the bulk light, and the lighter, and the shake light, and literally everything else, and this is just, it's bad. This item is trash. It's not useful. It's like the laser pointer, but at least the laser pointer has an actual use other than it. The tip jar doesn't really do anything. I don't have any beef with the tip jar, it's just there. It exists to do absolutely nothing, but it's pretty rare to get in that one modifier, so you know what? Let's put it in trash. We're not putting it in abysmal, but it doesn't do anything. Next up, we have the vial of Starlight, which is pretty much just a even more underpowered version of the bottle of Starlight. But you can find a ton of them in the back door, and you can hold up to 4 instead of just one of the bottle. And it's pretty much one of the only reasons that I can ever get through the back door because of the timers. It makes you fast, it makes you bright, and it gives you health, but it's not as long. We're going to put it in helpful just because it really helps to get the golden rift. And this is the vitamins. It's pretty much just a speed boost, but that can be used to stay away from rush, get away from figure in door 100 especially, where it's a very tight space, or really anywhere else. It can help if you are needing to get to a locker quickly for other things, even like ambush, or just in the rooms if you need a boost. Really anywhere if you just want a speed boost in the Siege Chase or anything. It's a pretty good item. I'm going to put it in helpful. Volatile Starlight. It's pretty much a 50-50 chance whether it's going to harm you or help you, which is why I just never take it. It's going in trash. Just like the mischievous candy. You may have noticed that there's no items in Absolutely Impeccable, but that's because we're only putting one item there. One out of these very helpful items is going to go to the Absolutely Impeccable tier, and that's going to be the shears. The shears can unlock all 3 of these items, except for this one, of course. It's one of the reasons that you can get the crucifix in the mines, and you can also get the bulk light and battery pack from it, which automatically brings it all the way to Absolutely Impeccable. That's my tier list. If you agreed, let me know in the comments, and if there's something you change, let me know about that too. Thanks for making it all the way to the end. Have an impeccable day, and goodbye.